Welcome again to MediConcepts. Now today I'll be taking a session on Introduction to Physiology. Now about the reference books, I'll mostly be referring to Guyton and Hall textbook of Physiology or to Genong Review of Medical Physiology. Now, as I told, physiology is all about how your body functions, and that is what we'll try to elucidate through our different videos. That is what is your aim throughout this first year. When you learn physiology, you'll be trying to understand how the different organ systems are functioning and how they are working in coordination with each other to make the very complex functions of your body seem very easy. You eat and you don't take everything separately, that carb, protein, everything separately. You don't weed out for all the microorganisms. There are going to be some microorganisms in it. You don't make sure that there is no extra fiber. You don't weigh it as per your body requirement. You don't take it in the exact form that your cells require. And you don't exactly control it meticulously, that you take only that much as it required and you don't overdo it, because over of anything is very injurious to your body. But you're not regulating that much. It's very simple. You eat how much feels good to you, and then when it's time to take the next meal, you automatically feel hungry. That is also a mechanism in your body. So there is very complex physiology involved behind all these very simple phenomena. Not just these, even nodding your head, waving your hand, sitting and maintaining your erect posture without losing your balance against this gravitational pull. The fact that you can maintain your body in a certain position and not lose your balance is also involving a lot of complex mechanisms within your body which you're not always aware of. And through these sessions on physiology, we'll try to learn those in very simple fashion. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So before starting, first of all, we need to know the levels of organization in human body. Humans are multicellular organisms. We are not amoeba. A single cell is not independent to perform all the functions, capable of doing everything. And finger cannot say, oh, I'm not being given enough importance, so I'm going to stay separately from the rest of body. It's not going to survive. Right? So every organ of the body has specialized function, and it needs the support of other organs for all the other functions. So if we talk about the levels of organization, cell is the basic unit of living being. And cell is again made of chemicals. So chemicals, the different macromolecules that you know of, and those molecules are again made up of your atoms, as you know from your chemistry. Now the cell, which is basic unit, it is also not of one shape and size. The shape and size varies as per its function. The structure is going to complement the function, and the function is complementary to the structure. So you can have an RBC which is very small, 5 micron, 7 micron. It does not even have a nucleus. They even vary in their organellar organization. The mitochondria and all the other organelles that are present within a cell, their organization also varies from cell to cell, and that is also something that you'll have to be aware of where it is functionally important. So RBC can be very small, whereas a neuron can be as long as your leg. A neuron can have its nucleus somewhere in your spine, and it can go and innervate your toe. The axon can go and innervate your big toe, so it can be that long. Then the cells, they come together to form tissue. Tissue, again, like you have epithelium, you have muscles, and you have different tissue. Even nervous tissue is a combination of neuron and the supportive tissue, the glial tissue. So you'll have to have an understanding of the structure of the tissue, and you can understand it better and complement it to its function. Then different tissues come together to form organ, like stomach is an organ, and it is going to have all the 4 layers. There's mucosa, there's submucosa, there's muscle layer, and then you have the serosa. Then the different organ system work together in a coordinated fashion to form organ systems, like your GIT, your respiratory system, your osteoarticular system, your nervous system, and then all these systems, they work in synergy, and then you are the human body. So this is the different levels of organization, and even throughout your different sessions I will try to simplify every organ system to all these different hierarchical levels, and try to help you correlate their structure and function together. That makes it way easier to remember. Now coming to the composition, if we talk in a very general broad fashion, there are 2 very important fluids that you need to know. There's intracellular fluid inside any cell, which has some basic composition and some variable composition depending on which cell we are talking about. But right now what I want to talk about is extracellular fluid, the one that is bathing all the cells, which is said to be the internal environment of the cell, जिसमें cells रहते हैं. It is also called as the milieu interior, and it has a very specific combination, and the balance between extracellular and intracellular fluid is maintained. How it is maintained, again we'll learn later. But this internal environment in which all the cells live is very, very important. Just that much is what I would like to emphasize right now, and we'll go further later. This is very important for the healthy state of human. It is very important for a person to stay healthy. Now, continuing the very same thought, we come to homeostasis. What is homeostasis? Homeostasis is maintaining this internal environment. It is maintaining the conditions of this internal environment nearly constant all the time. Okay, that is what is homeostasis. And to elaborate, it is also the capacity of human to maintain this internal environment nearly constant. It is the ability to maintain this internal environment. And from the very same thing we come, so this is the healthy state when you are able to maintain homeostasis by yourself independently. And when it is disrupted, it leads to a disease state. Now, I know this is a very simplified version of saying that every disease has the very same definition. It is disruption of hemostasis in some or the other way. Your body is not able to maintain this internal environment, this milieu interior, and the moment it gets disrupted, a person gets diseased. And not just that, the moment it is irreversibly disrupted, अब नहीं कर सकते reverse. This is what leads to death. Death is nothing but irreversible disruption of homeostasis, and that is what is going to take away the capacity of body to continue performing those biochemical reactions and stay alive. Now to give you a little example for this. How? Like suppose a person lost their arm, किसी का हाथ कट गया, तो मर जाएंगे वो? मर जाएंगे, obviously मर जाएंगे. If nothing is done, they'll die. But are they going to die because they lost a limb? No, they'll die because they are losing lot of blood. They are losing lot of blood, the blood pressure is going to fall, your body is not going to be able to maintain that fall in blood pressure. Because that fall in blood pressure continues, again your internal environment, the ionic balance is going to shift, your fluid balance is going to shift, and there will be a point when it will be irreversible and the death is going to start. The process of death, the individual cell dying is going to start. On the other hand, even if a person loses a limb and it is immediately bandaged, though the limb is lost, but if that blood loss is controlled and body is given some supportive means to continue maintaining blood pressure, the normal electrolyte balance, the pH, the buffer, everything is maintained, the person will be in disease state at that time. जब तक उसको बाहर के support से अपना internal environment maintain करना पड़ रहा है. जिस moment पे independently उसकी body adapt कर जाएगी और ये internal environment maintain करने लगेगी, it is from that moment that a person will be healthy again. Though disabled, but they will be healthy. So that is the importance of homeostasis. How that homeostasis is maintained, we'll read it in subsequent chapters. After that, in the introduction, you should know about the different organ systems and its function, but I'm not going to deal with them here. We'll take them up as we come to individual organ system, because you know of them from your biology. One more thing I would like to talk about a little bit is control system. The different organs perform their function, but how is it ensured that they are not overdoing it or they are not underdoing it? Your digestive system is absorbing up to a certain state and then excreting. कितना पानी absorb करना है, ऐसा नहीं सारा कर लेना है, depending on your body requirement. If you take your kidney for example, when it is summer, you produce less urine, you conserve water because you're already sweating, so you're losing water through sweat, and your body tries to maintain that internal environment by telling your kidney ki don't filter out too much water. But when it is cold and your water is conserved from almost everywhere, so your urine production increases. So there are control systems to maintain everything from temperature to pressure to everything in your body, and that happens mostly by hormones, small chemicals rather I would say, rather than hormones, because hormones are the ones that are endocrine in nature. They are autocrine, paracrine chemicals also, and we'll talk about these terms later. But they can be certain chemicals that are regulating it, or it could be your nervous system. Again, your nervous system is divided into central, peripheral and autonomic nervous system, and we have some smaller, like you have nerve plexus in your GIT, so that also performs some of the neuronal functions, but we'll get to that later. But two major, you have the endocrine, or you can say hormone or the chemical one, and the other is your neural one. These are the two important control systems or regulating systems, and they perform either negative feedback, positive feedback, or adaptive. Negative feedback is that suppose there is an A substance, or rather I would say there is an A impulse or A output is there that is being produced by an input X. Input X is causing A output. So the more the input, the output is increasing. So when this output increases, it will inhibit the production of this X input. So if it is a neuron impulse, it will inhibit it. If it is some hormone, its production will be inhibited. But whatever it is, so there is a certain X input which is increase. When it is increasing, it is causing an increase in a certain output A. And when this output happens, this A output has a negative feedback effect and it decreases X. So this ensures that there is a certain balance which is maintained, and the magnitude of output, it stays within the required limit. And this is the most common form. For example, though it is a very crude way, there are multiple more mechanisms involved. But like if you take the example of glucose, you know, insulin, whenever there is increase in glucose, it will increase the secretion of insulin. And what does insulin do? It will decrease the glucose in blood. How it will do? It will cause glucose to get converted to glycogen and get stored. It will cause glucose to be utilized by different tissues. It will cause the muscle to take up glucose. Many different mechanisms. But अगर मोटा मोटा देखें तो ग्लूकोज बढ़ता है, आपके ब्लड शुगर जैसे ही बढ़ता है, in a normal person it will increase the production of insulin, it will trigger the release of insulin rather, और जब इंसुलिन आता है तो नेगेटिव फीडबैक करके कर देगा. जब ग्लूकोज कम हो जाएगा इंसुलिन, तो दिस इज रेगुलेट. पॉजिटिव फीडबैक क्या होता है? पॉजिटिव फीडबैक होता है कि देयर इज अ सर्टेन इनपुट आई, आउटपुट ओ. increase in input is going to increase this output, and this output is in turn again going to have a positive feedback and increase it all the more. और बढ़ता जाएगा. तो this is said to be a vicious cycle. अब ऐसा लगेगा कि ये तो बहुत ही खराब है, बट नहीं, it is required in some places. जैसे आपके digestive enzymes, and these are released in their precursor forms, and once they are activated, they keep activating more conversion to the active form of enzyme. Similarly, coagulation pathway also has a portion of positive feedback. So it is required, but yes, there are places where it leads to a vicious cycle which can lead to irreversible damage in a person. And then adaptive is not that simple कि बस दो नहीं involved है. Even your central nervous system या spinal level gets involved. So this negative feedback does not occur at the first step. Its memory stays and your body adapts कि next time अगर ये impulse आएगा, आई और ओ के ही टर्म्स में अगर हम बात करें, आई बढ़ा ओ बढ़ा, तो ये अभी कुछ नहीं करेगा, बट जब नेक्स्ट टाइम आई बढ़ेगा और ओ बढ़ेगा तो ये थोड़ा सा इनहिबिट कर देगा, है ना. तो इट अडैप्ट्स इट फॉर लेटर stimulations, not for that immediate one. Just you should know the name, and in detail we'll talk about later. So I think with that we are done with the introduction to physiology. In the next session, I'll just tell you about what exactly your syllabus in physiology is about, and then we'll take up the individual systems and proceed with them. Thank you and happy learning.